In this video, we want to see how we can merge different data files together. An existing data set and a second data set where we want to add columns, or we have a second data set where we want to add rows. So I work again with a toy data set and I separate them. So now you can see here we have a data set M, which is for males, and a data set F for females. So we have two data sets. And now my question is, how can I merge them together? And you can see we have here a function which is called rbind. So R stands for row, so bind rows together. So in order to understand that, let's have a look at the two data sets. So if you have a look at these data sets, so one is DFM and the other is DFF, so you can see that the variable names are identical, which means we have one data set and we want to add rows. So we use the function rbind and we just say bind these two data sets together, and if you look at it, then we can see we get the original data set back. Now the second part is, what do we do if you want to add columns? So here we have a data set where you have the same ID and the same gender, but we have two different variables. That means we want to add the stress variable into the data set where we have the coping variable. Here we use the function merge. So let's have a quick look at our toy data set. So we can see we have here a person in row 2, which is in couple ID 1 and has the sex 1. And of course we want to combine this value and this value into the same person. So what is important when we want to merge columns is that we add the value we have for person 1 here, the stress value, with the coping value for the same person. So we have to tell the merging function which value should be put together, because they might be in different order. There is a way to merge two data sets directly and just basically match them according to the rows, but that's somehow dangerous, because if that's not ordered properly, then it merges the values to the wrong person. So we want to define it by here saying by, and in general this is just the ID, but in our case where we have couples, we have to say, okay, merge it for ID and gender. And if you have, for example, longitudinal data, then you would also say the time point. And then all is true has to do with missings, because if you don't do that, for example, if you have missing here, then I think it drops the row. So let's run this and have a look. So you can see it have matched it nicely together, exactly how we had it in our original data set. So let's summarize. If you want to merge two data sets, you have to be aware, do you want to add rows or do you want to add columns? And then you find the solution here in this syntax.